Live from the First State, you are listening to the Financial Empowerment Show with the podcast king, Troy Bailey, and the finance queen, Awanda Hodge. The Financial Empowerment Show, creating new fiscal standards one home at a time. Give us a call now at 877-829-1099. That's 877-TAX-1099. And now, here's Troy and Awanda.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the Financial Empowerment Show. I'm your host, Troy Bailey, the podcast king, and to my right is Awanda Hodge, the finance queen.
Hello, everyone. We are excited to get right into this show.
Wait. Slow down. She just want to get into it, y'all.
I do.
We want to talk about the past shows that's going on. We want to thank you for your comments on YouTube.
You're right. We want to thank everyone for giving us comments, for giving us the feedback. We really appreciate you guys subscribing, liking, and sharing. We are so excited about the feedback that we're getting. So keep it coming.
Yeah.
Keep commenting. Keep sharing it with your friends and family.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yes, please subscribe. But we don't want to hold back because you guys see it's not just us here today.
We got a guest.
We have a guest. We have a
made
special
the
guest
Financial
here.
Empowerment Show have their first guest?
Yes, this is our first.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. We're making history at the Financial Empowerment Show. We have our very first guest, all right? Let me introduce you to her, all right? Her name is Rashmi Ragan. She is the Operations Director of the Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council. Welcome, Rashmi.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so tell the viewers, of course we're on YouTube and Spotify, tell them what you do at your Reinvestment Action Community.
Thank you so much for the invitation to talk about financial empowerment.
Wonderful.
At
You're
DCREC,
welcome.
I am the executive director, but everything else in between. Chief cook and bottle washer.
Wow.
So, opportunity presents, I'll talk about all the things we do.
Wonderful. So our show title today is show number 11, Financial Products. Your very first financial products should be a checking account.
So do you agree with that, Rashmi? Do you think that should be the first financial product that a person has?
The first financial product any consumer in America ought to have is a bank account. Bank accounts, of course, are savings and checking accounts.
Correct.
So yes, bank account. When I came to the U.S. in 1988, it was a struggle to find a bank account because I wasn't a known commodity.
Right.
It's difficult to get a bank account.
When I had my very first job, I remember working. I took my very first check and went to the bank, and I had a bank account ever since. I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. I cashed my very first check at the liquor store. I didn't have a checking account.
Oh, and how much did they charge you?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but they took a good chunk out of my check. They did. But that's the price you pay for not having, these things in order. You have to go to a check cashing or a liquor store or whomever is
And they
willing
take
to
advantage
cash your
of you
check.
because you don't have. Now, a checking account is a huge responsibility, all righty? And the responsibility that's the foundation to help you build wealth and create wealth and to control your cash flow. Do you know that all businesses have the checking account and a savings account?
I'm sure.
And guess what? You should treat your house just like a business. Open up that checking account. The checking account landscape has really changed. Can you give us an example, Rashmi, of how this checking account landscape changed for consumers?
Oh, over the last several decades, banking has changed completely. There was a time you had to physically go into a bank branch.
Whoa, slow down. No ATMs? No stopping at the convenience store and pulling your money out?
I know. When I came to America, I said, I truly have arrived in the land of opportunities. You have machines that spit out money. Honestly.
You thought it was raining. It was raining dollars.
Give me that card.
But I used to go to the bank wanting to know how I could take advantage of that. But I felt so embarrassed, ashamed to even ask somebody, what in the world is that machine that gives money?
Right.
Until one fine day I said, hey, not asking that question is going to hurt me.
That is correct.
Else. So I walked in and very proudly stood and said, by the way, that machine that spits out money, how do I get it to spit out money?
I remember it used to call a Mac machine. Remember that, Awanda?
Yeah.
Money Access Centers.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh, yes.
And you used to have your Mac card. And so, but
Now you can pull out your cell phone and do
Yeah.
everything
You know-
on it.
So do you find that a lot of people that come to your office, do they usually have the checking account in place
No.
or no?
That is the problem, because now nobody gets paychecks because it's too expensive to mail out checks.
Right.
So everything is
direct
Direct.
deposit.
electronically.
Right.
Okay.
Many people don't have bank accounts for direct deposits, so businesses are very creative. We have prepaid cards,
Correct.
Oh, to
So-
load, yeah.
so they are loaded.
Yeah.
There are fees.
Right.
You don't look at the statements to see.
But that
what's
that
going
lacks
on.
discipline when you try to control your cash flow, because it's a mental thing. I don't physically see myself spending that money, so it's like
'Cause
I
it's
don't
all on
see
the
it
card.
go.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Now it's funny, like when we go on vacation, my wife and myself and our family, I have to remember to bring cash because I don't carry cash.
Right.
But sometime in the event that I do carry cash, I might have $50 in my pocket, but I don't want to see it go, so I use my card.
You try to hold on to the
I'm
cash.
trying to hold on to it, but you see how using that electronic money, it's a
It's
mechanism
unreal.
Right.
that is
Your mind
correct.
thinks it's unreal. I mean, I've gone shopping. When I part with cash, it pains me.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
when
It's
I
an emotional
sign the
effect.
receipt, I'm talking to the cashier. I'm talking to the person behind me, signing, not even knowing what I signed.
Right.
So, to discipline is one word you
Right.
used. Accountability was another word you used. These are critical if we want to build our own wealth.
Correct.
We cannot rely on anybody else helping us get there.
That
Our
is
problem
correct.
is we blame everyone. When we point fingers, we forget that three are pointing at us.
That is correct.
true.
One is pointing at the Lord above. Right?
And your
But-
arms are too short to box with God.
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
So the three that we are 3 times as responsible for what happens to us.
Right.
And because of that, we have the obligation to learn. We weren't taught how to manage money.
Money.
I like what you
Right.
said,
Right.
Rashmi. I like what you said. You said, I want to learn about this. I'm in a land of opportunity. I see money. I see a machine spitting out money.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt me if I don't ask a question.
Exactly.
Listen, viewers, I want you to go on that telephone. Call the number. 1-8. What's that phone number, Awanda?
Go ahead. You was
Okay.
about to say
Put
it.
it
Go
up there,
right
Paul.
ahead.
Put it 877-829-1099. Go to our website. Go to our email. Ask those financial questions so you can get your cash flow, your budget ready, so you can learn how to start building your wealth. No one is going to ask you the questions for you.
No,
Rashmi
they're not.
said, it's going to hurt me if I don't ask the teller.
Well,
Why-
we have what Rashmi is saying to me is that, you know, I'm taking out of it that we have this resource here in Delaware for anyone who's watching us in Delaware.
Correct.
That's available to people, and maybe they just don't know that
Okay.
this resource is available. So can you speak to like other things that are available, like other resources that if they do come, they would be able to take advantage of?
Oh, thank you so much for opening this wonderful Pandora's box. So, since 1995, our organization has been teaching people about money, budget, credit scores, banking, smart borrowing, debt, home ownership,
Wow.
all of these things.
So me and
Today-
Awanda's not the first doing this?
You're the
Absolutely
first with a
not.
large audience.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
My audience was 5 people if I was lucky. But
Wow.
the 5 were equally lucky.
Correct.
Because every time I teach, I walk away learning
Correct,
so
correct,
much.
correct.
Because you don't know everything.
You don't, you
Every
don't.
day is a learning experience.
That is correct.
So today, all of that is through the Money School. So just Google Money School.
Okay.
There are volunteers that teach about all aspects of money.
Correct.
But learning is not enough, because once you learn, you realize, oh dear, this is what's happening to my money. One paycheck is going to pay the check casher.
Yeah.
One paycheck is going to pay all the fees, maybe more.
That is correct.
So we have to create systems. And we know that the systems aren't created for our communities,
Right.
particularly
No, they're
the
not.
low wealth communities. They have fringe banking system that is exploitative.
Wow.
So we chartered a community federal credit union,
Okay.
Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union, in 2011. That year, in all of America, there was only one credit union that the regulators chartered. Remember,
Wait,
banks
back up,
were
back
failing,
up. I think that's
credit unions were failing.
So what?
There's only
I wonder,
one bank in the country.
In 2011, yes,
Oh, wow.
a new bank in 2011,
Wow.
around the time when banks were failing,
Right, remember
credit
that.
unions were failing. So regulators were concerned about allowing a new bank to form, which will fail. And if the bank fails, the federal government steps in
Correct.
Right.
and protects everybody's deposits.
Correct.
Now,
Right,
if we have
FDIC.
prepaid cards, then if whoever is issuing fails, the FDIC and the NCUA won't come in to bail you out.
So that's an
Unless
important
they-
point that she just made.
It
So
is.
for everyone out there that are, if you're getting your paycheck loaded onto a card,
That is correct.
it's not FDIC
Not
insured.
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Necessarily.
So you maybe have to look into that. But that's a big point. Because you
right.
could just be totally at a loss if something happens with that institution and they fail.
I believe they
Yeah.
raised the FDIC amount from 250 or
Now it is
150 to 250.
250.
250.
Yes.
So what that means is that if you have $50,000 in your bank account, alrighty, and that bank fails, the federal government will step in and guarantee your money up to $250,000.
Right.
Am I correct?
Right.
Right.
So, but if you had 50,000, federal government only gives
Give
back
50,000.
50,000.
Right. No,
Right,
you're
no.
right. Not 1 cent more.
Don't think you're gonna get extra.
That's right. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important to have a checking account.
Right.
And I believe this. I believe a lot of and some businesses might have several accounts
Yes.
because they have above the 250.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if it falls, if you
Right.
they have 1.2 million dollars,
Right.
they're only getting 25%
Right.
of that.
Right.
Correct.
I mean, GCREC's money is never in one bank account.
Correct.
It's in not just bank account. I have 4 or 5 banks because I keep only up to 248,000. And
Okay.
if the rates go
Look,
up,
look.
I will reduce that.
But that's a
You see that
strategy.
strategy?
That's a
That is
strategy.
correct.
Yes.
I mean, it's your money.
Yes.
You're responsible. And I'll tell you, when I talked about systems, systemic barriers, I also understand why people do not go and open these accounts. The first barrier is
Fear.
when you walk in, intimidation, of course, but how will you be treated?
Okay.
Right. Treatment.
That
That's a big
is
thing.
a big thing.
Right.
The second barrier is the cost, the hidden cost of banking. When you write, when you don't understand
How to write a
and you
check.
make mistakes and you overdraw,
Draw.
you might overdraw just by $1, but the cost of it trickles
It
because
does.
the Supreme Court has allowed the banks to basically create their own tiers. So suppose I wrote 4 checks and 3 would have cleared, only 4th wouldn't.
Domino
But-
effect.
But they could start with the 4th and then all 4. So I end up paying NSF fees
For
for
4 checks, right?
And those are the reasons that folk don't. And the other barriers that banks have created. You have to have good credit score. You
Correct.
have to not be in check system.
Right.
So if banks are shutting doors on you,
Correct.
you don't want to go where you are not invited.
Well,
on
right.
the other hand, who is opening their doors for us? The predators out there.
Right.
The
Wow.
exploiters
Yep.
out there. And it's that space that we are occupying with Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union, where we want to give you opportunities, open your savings account. We have a checking account, but not the traditional checking account. So you can't write checks and then bounce them, but bill pay. So your money from your savings goes into the checking and bill is paid. But if there is no money, that bill won't get paid.
So that way you
but
won't
you
incur
won't have the
a fee.
NSF fee.
That's great.
Now, at the time
We
of
have
this
direct
taping,
deposit,
at the time of this taping, aren't they, Pat? Some banks are removing those NFC fees. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
That way,
But it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
There are NSF fee removals, overdraft fee removals, but it takes good things take a long time to trickle down to our community's level.
so let's say this. So Awanda, so she had mentioned that the institution had built barriers. There's not much we can do about that. Let's focus on what we can do to overcome those barriers.
Well, I feel like though what she's saying, what they did at DREC is doing something to overcome that boundary. They basically made their own bank.
Correct.
So then you don't have to deal with those boundaries
Right.
for the outside resources. You can come to where you're dealing with your own people that understand,
That look like you.
that look like you, and
So
that are
it's-
going to give you those opportunities, you know, that you need in order to advance. So that is something that can be
So
done.
I'll
Well,
tell you something else about Stepping Stones. It is a federal home loan bank. It is a certified minority depository institution.
Now, what does
It
that
is-
mean?
That means NCUS certified that it is a financial institution for minorities.
Okay.
Okay.
So we are run by, we are operated by, we are of the people, by the people, for the people. Our field of membership is anyone that lives, works, worships, studies in the city of Wilmington. So there's got to be a nexus to the city of Wilmington.
Right.
Okay.
While we are tiny, a tiny little row house on Church Street, but we are as big as any other bank.
Correct.
We are gearing up to do mortgages. We'll do down payment settlement help assistance for first-time home buyers. But ours is advancing minority home ownership. So unapologetically minority constituency is who our target community is.
Okay.
Wealth divide, we talk about the racial wealth divide. We are doing something to reduce that. Those are things like wealth building opportunities, money school, and stepping stones. But then wealth is being stripped away from our communities. There are two certainties in life, death and taxes, right?
Okay.
Right.
Now,
That is correct.
so for taxes, since 2003, we've operated a low-income tax clinic. It's a federal program where we provide a free tax attorney, Anthony Doring, whom you know,
Okay.
to a client who is in trouble with IRS. Now, when we talk about trouble with IRS, Earned Income Tax Credit is the largest federal anti-poverty program.
The largest.
the
You know
largest.
what? Earned income credit. That's on, I believe, our next show, Awanda.
Taxes.
The taxes.
Yes.
All right. Earned income credit, I believe, goes to, they have an income cap. All
Yes.
righty. So any
Yes.
couple who earns, I can't remember the figure,
Yeah,
I'm going
I
to
don't
like
remember.
$50,000 or less is eligible for earned income credit. I believe
Single
that
men
start.
are also eligible for it.
Who's that?
Single men.
Yes, single men,
and
they
they
have to
don't think
earn,
so.
they
Right.
have to earn, I think,
Less.
12,000
Right,
or,
something
I think they have to earn less than the standard deduction. So if you
Okay.
earn less than the standard deduction, you're eligible for earned income tax credit. That's another show.
Right.
But
But-
before you go
right.
on, I want the people, Paul, can you put her number up to, how can they reach you? How can the people reach you in your constituency?
The best way really is to reach me by email, because then I look super smart. You ask me a question, I can actually do some Googling and give you the right answer. But RRANGAN at dcrac.org.
Oh, that's right there on the
also,
screen.
Yeah, it's going to be right there for you guys.
Yep, you can also leave me a message at 302-298-3250.
That's wonderful.
So, when I talked about the EITC, the largest federal anti-poverty program, I also want to tell you about the systemic barriers, oppressive things that happen. It's that very community for which Congress has given this money. That is the community that is 5 times more likely to be audited.
Oh, so they were looking more into their taxes.
Because
and where are they,
that
they
is
can't
correct.
afford an attorney. So thankfully an attorney will be provided for you. But second largest anti-poverty program we operate.
What's that?
Access to banking.
Wow.
Okay.
It saves a person a banked and an unbanked. An unbanked in 1 year spends about $3,000 in converting that paycheck into cash and cash into instruments to make payments.
Wow.
Say that again. Say that again. That's worth repeating. So you have banked and you have unbanked.
Right. We have these two people here.
Right. And so the unbanked spends up to $3,000
A year.
a year
Yes.
versus someone who has a checking account, a savings account, someone who's diligently and now. When I first got my checking account, remember the ledger books we had?
Yes.
We didn't have no computer, no PCs. So you had to remember this, Awanda?
Yeah,
you had to go there on Friday because Saturday it was what?
No, they were closed on the weekend.
They were closed. So if you didn't make it on the bank by the time it closed, then you would have to say, okay, I have $50 in here. I wrote a check out for $25. I have $25 left.
Balancing books is so critical.
Correct.
For businesses, for individuals.
Correct.
Our problems are all these systems, but also our irresponsibility.
Yeah, so that's what I want to focus on, because that's why I was asking the question. A lot of times, and some people who's not in Rashmi's district, those who are watching on Spotify or YouTube, you might not have access to not a credit union, but
our credit union,
to her credit union.
Right.
But there are credit unions
everywhere.
Right, there are credit unions everywhere, and I believe they did change the laws for credit unions everywhere, where you just don't have to work at that place, but you worship, you live there, and so that way you can. Most barriers are broken down where those big institutions are, and a lot of people, because they're in financial debt. Their credit score is bad, because what happens is this. What happens is that they get a checking account. They have what they call that
checks.
Overdraft
fees, and people use it as their own money.
So let's touch on that point quickly.
Let's touch on that point, Awanda.
Overdraft protection is not credit. These are two different things.
It's two different
things.
things.
So if you have overdraft protection on your account, that doesn't mean to use that as like a credit or go ahead and just continuously overdraw your account or spend more than what you have.
That's what people are doing.
That's there as a protection, basically, so that your check that you wrote doesn't bounce back or doesn't go unpaid. So then you'll have a double fee.
Like
you have a fee from the merchant and a fee from your bank.
That is correct.
So that's what the overdraft protection is in place for. We also want people to know that when you're using this overdraft protection, it's a negative.
It's costing you money.
It's costing you money, and also it can be a negative. It can hold you back from things, because I remember there was a time where I'm trying to remember what it was, something that I wanted to get, and I had to show my bank. No, I had to show my bank statements. But if you had an overdraft, they were no.
Right, because it shows you are
irresponsible. So don't forget about the overdraft. It's there, but it's not there.
Correct.
Don't use it. It's not credit.
Correct.
It's not something that you can just use and I'll pay it back when my check drops in, my direct deposit drops in, it'll clear it. No, that's not how you want to be using that.
But today,
one way we could be our own overdraft protector. So since structures need to be implemented for on which a foundation, financial foundation can be built. We all have heard pay yourself first.
Correct.
Right.
We have all heard about building a liquidity fund that is equal to 1 month of your expense.
Just 1
Right.
month?
Emergency fund. That's what we
just
talked about.
a liquidity fund,
Right.
Okay.
so that you will never bounce a check. But an emergency fund, they talk about a 3 month, but we've just emerged from a pandemic and headed into a recession, possibly. I hope not.
Right.
But if that is the case, we know that we need to be resilient for 6 months, 12 months.
Correct.
Our hours may be cut down, our income may have cut down.
Correct.
So
Right.
there's so much.
We advocate here at the Financial Empowerment Show a 6-month reserve. And actually, during this financial, what we're going through now, Awanda, this is a perfect time to start controlling your cash flow. Listen, I listen to a lot of radio shows, and there's a bunch of fear out there. They're just scaring people. Oh no, we're going to have this and recession, and you're going to be. Listen, this is a perfect time to start controlling your cash flow, to start eliminating your debt, right? And guess what? When the market is down, Awanda, can I say? Is it safe to say this?
Yes.
It's a sale. It's a blue
So all
light
you
sale.
shoppers out there.
The financial market having the blue light sale on stocks, bonds, portfolios, the whole 9 yards. Just last week, already.
Stop waving your hand.
Oh, stop waving my hands. Just last week, I purchased more shares in my mutual fund. I have mutual funds for my grandchildren. All right, so the mutual fund was not way below, but below the 52-week high. So guess what I did?
Bought more.
I bought more because it was on sale.
Bargain basement sale.
You can't beat it.
Yes.
So forget the fear, forget the hype. We want you to start controlling your cash flow today.
We do want you to control your cash flow, but we want to be realistic too and understand that people are fearful because we have just come out of a pandemic. We did. You know, and it's a lot of uncertainty with people. So we do want to give them some common sense, some just down to earth things that they can do to make sure they have this liquidity account, make sure they actually have at least a checking account and know the value in having a checking account. I mean, even if you go in to purchase a home, I'm not sure how you do that without even having a checking account in place.
Yeah, because don't they require 3 months of bank statements
and things like that?
They require 2 years of tax returns, and then they require at least 4 to 6 weeks of pay stubs. Alrighty, so I can attest from personal experience. Some of my clients, they'll call me up and on one show we talk about. I think we had one caller who's saying, "I want to buy a house." And we recommended that start that process, alrighty, at least a year or beyond, because you're going to have to get ready. It just can't be a whim. I want to buy a house, and the way the market is today, you know what I mean. You want to be in a good position to buy your home.
Right.
I think we covered two of the bullet points we have. What is a checking account? What is the importance of checking account? What's the do's and don't of a checking account?
What do you think are some do's and don'ts?
In broad terms about money, my do's are: spend an hour a week on your money. In 52 weeks, your money will do beautifully. When you are 90, if you've spent that kind of time on looking at your money will look awesome. You spend more on your face a week. At 90, you might look 60, but you'll still age. So invest some time in opening all mail, looking at what's going on.
Don't be intimidated about the mail. Don't understand. Like you're saying, ask.
Ask. Read, know what's going on. Stop if something wrong is going on. It might be you have to stop it yourself, or pick up the phone and contact your bank to stop that from happening. But don't be the ostrich with your head buried in sand. thinking that the problem will go away. That storm ain't gonna go away. The thing that will ease your worries is control.
Right.
You need to be in control. Everyone knows when things go out of control, everything spins around
spirals.
us. You just cannot get back in the right frame of mind.
Correct.
So staying in control is probably the most important piece of advice that I can give your listeners.
Yes, great points.
Correct.
I kind
That
of had a lot of similar ones. Is like once you get a checking account, review your statement monthly. Like, don't let it just go on and on and on, because if there is a discrepancy on there, you need to be able to raise it. If there's some fraud going on, you need to know what's going on.
That's
in your
right. That's a
account.
good point, Awanda,
Yes, you need
because
to
what
be
happens
reviewing.
when fraud, they'll start with a small amount to see if you noticed.
Right.
It could be $1.99, it could be $5, and you say, "Oh, I probably did that last week."
And even with the bank, though, they're only going to investigate and go back for a certain amount of time. So if
That
you're
is
not
correct.
looking at your statements, you know you're going to lose your money.
And today, you can get your statements on your phone,
Right.
On your cell phone.
Like she said, that was an excellent point, to spend 1 hour a week.
You
Like, I never
spend
thought
more
of that.
Netflix binging
Right.
shows.
And just because there's so many outside things now, they have Zelle, Venmo,
Correct.
Cash App.
Right.
Like, I would say be conscious and be apprehensive about how you use these
Yeah,
tools.
because Cash App now, what happening in Cash App, if you get more than $600 in a year with Cash App,
You'll get a
the
1099.
IRS well, not IRS, but the Cash App is required to send you a 1099 NEC to pay taxes on. Because what's happening is that the IRS, all this money is flown around. The IRS don't know if it's business, if it's personal.
Right.
My son's in college, or this guy cutting grass and getting paid. Is he doing chores and getting paid? The IRS is not going to sit back and figure it out.
So how do we differentiate then if my mother's sending me $1,000 but on Cash App, and so it's not for business, but they're sending me a 1099? How do we differentiate what that income?
The
so
IRS
they don't
is
care?
not. They don't care.
So I have to pay taxes on that money.
You're going to have to claim that on your
See,
Schedule
you guys, but
C.
this is the reason why you need to have a checking account.
That is correct.
Because if you're doing all your money in Cash App, you're going to be basically paying taxes twice.
I hate to say this, but I have businesses who pay their employees in Cash App.
Yes.
You cannot continue to operate in that realm of accountability, because it's going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt your business as well.
Right.
Alrighty, that's why I wanted to say it's important to get that checking account. If you can't go to a traditional bank, go to the credit union in your state. Go to the credit union where most barriers won't be there to stop you from getting a checking account. And be responsible for your checking account. Know what's coming in and know what's coming out. These are the basic principles to help you control your cash flow and to build wealth.
So we've kind of went over our time.
We went over our time, Nancy. How far
we
went
just
over our
enjoyed
time?
having Rashmi here with us today.
That's
You're
right.
just such a wealth of information. Like, I love
Thank
just
you.
listening to you talk. Like,
Put that number on the screen,
So you
Paul.
guys,
Yes.
if you're in Delaware and you need assistance, please reach out to her. Like, this resource is here. It's like a gem.
It's
It's like
for
a hidden
you.
gem that nobody knew.
That
like,
is correct.
People don't know about. So we really want to get the information out there so that people can take advantage of this. If you don't have a checking account, if you want to go to the money school, if you want to, get something with their credit union, or just get some information, reach out to her. Her information is also going to be on our website.
That is correct.
So you can reach out to them, and thank you so much for coming and
Thank you so
sharing,
much.
all your information with us. Thank you.
Listen, keep up the
Enjoy.
good work, because it's phenomenal.
Right.
It's greatly needed.
It is.
Because
It's a great resource for the community.
I think we can reduce that gap between the wealth and the non-wealth, because, like you're saying, we want to blame outside sources. Guess what? Look at you first. Look at the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson said it well. Listen, we want to thank you for joining us to another edition of the Financial Empowerment Show. We love being here. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Share it with your friends.
And email us Email us your questions.
At Goldberg, financialempowermentshow.com. Email Awanda.
Yep. Email me directly. I will respond.
Yes, she will.
I respond to your comments too on YouTube. But this is like a wrap. This week is a wrap. We'll see you next week. We will touch on more points next week. We kind of got over our time this week, but we thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much. We'll see you on next show.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up this segment of the Financial Empowerment Show. Until next time, send us your questions to info@financialempowermentshow.com. Whether you earn $13,000 a year or $130,000 a year, let Troy and Awanda help you grow your money tree.
Strategy. You wanna buy a home or lease? I got a lot of golden keys to help you grow your money tree.